In Belgrade, Serbia, this is Josh Friedman coming to you from outside the Serbian parliament on an interesting day in world events. Early this morning, the United States as well as the United Kingdom and France launched airstrikes in Syria, striking Syrian government targets. And that might bring up some rather negative memories for some people here in Belgrade, as 19 years ago at this time of year, the US and its allies were bombing then Yugoslavia in order to assist the Albanians in Kosovo and to drive the Serb forces out of Kosovo. And that still is very fresh in people's memories here, as you can see evidence by the sign, and rather signs behind me. This one right here says, "Kidnapped and killed civilians by Albanian terrorists 1998 to 1999. War criminals protected by NATO, KFOR, UN, EU, etc." And that families want justice. So, being that today the US and a couple allies were bombing another country under the grounds of a humanitarian intervention, that may seem eerily familiar to many people here, as it was a, quote, humanitarian intervention that was basically used as the justification for bombing Yugoslavia. Now, fast forward to where we are, nearly 2 decades later. It's very uncertain what's going to happen with Syria. There's been a war going on there for 7 years, and it seems like the tide has turned in multiple directions, back and forth. I can't tell you what's going to be the resolution of that conflict, although here it seems like we're getting closer to a resolution. The war has been over for practically 19 years now. Kosovo is not recognized internationally in the sense that it is not recognized as a United Nations member, and there are key UN members such as Russia and China, as well as many other countries that do not recognize Kosovo's independence. But could we be approaching some resolution to the issue of Kosovo, and as it is connected or as it relates to Serbia? I can tell you from going around speaking to people here, I'm trying to get a pulse of the Serbian populace as it relates to Kosovo, and Belgrade probably is not necessarily the best indication of that, given that the nationalist sentiments, the conservative sentiments are often stronger outside of Belgrade. But nonetheless, I think almost everyone here is in agreement that were Serbia to recognize the independence of Kosovo, that would be a very troubling political move domestically here in Serbia. Most people seem to be against that. There are some Serbian citizens who do say, yeah, I think we should go ahead and recognize Kosovo as an independent state. But that is not a popular idea here. And I'm going to bring in an interviewee. We're going to be cutting to interview footage momentarily to discuss that and discuss a couple of the possibilities how this might play out. And one possibility is maybe some sort of soft recognition of Kosovo's independence. Would that suffice the European Union and its conditions of there being normalization of the ties between Serbia and Kosovo before Serbia enters the EU? I don't have a definitive answer for you, but it might. It's a theory, and it's a part of the discussion here in Belgrade. And now we're going to cut to that interview footage. Here it is. I'm now joined by Milan Pesovic, the national coordinator of the Serbian Students For Liberty. Did I get that correct?
Yes, you did. In the first try. Congratulations. And I'm happy to be here with you.
Thank you for joining me. So I'm going around Belgrade right now trying to get the pulse of the people on the issue of Serbia possibly recognizing Kosovo in order to join the European Union. Is that some far-fetched idea, or could that actually happen?
It is far-fetched. It's the most sensitive diplomatic issue that Serbia is currently facing, and a formal recognition of Kosovo's independence from Serbia is not likely to happen anytime soon. Now, from where I'm standing, anyone who would sign such an agreement, which would be legally binding for Serbia and Kosovo, would commit treason, because in the Serbian constitution as it is, Kosovo is an integral part, and the very first part of the constitution, the preamble, is about Kosovo. So what would be more likely to happen is to have a legally binding document signed by Serbia and by Kosovo to agree to let each other cohabitate and to live, but not recognize Kosovo as a sovereign and independent state.
And do you think that would satisfy the European Union?
Yes, I would think that would satisfy the European Union, because Serbia has a big role to play in the Western Balkans region, and we've seen that the European Union leadership has been willing to sacrifice democracy and other core value principles for peace in the region, which was not the case till like 15 years ago. So if we put into perspective that and remember that they're willing to make sacrifices, then we can say that in terms of in the name of peace for the region, they are likely to let that slip. But what I think will happen after that is that Kosovo would keep getting step by step towards their end game, which would be a full recognition from Serbia's part.
But you would see that as happening in the long term. How far out might that be?
It could be 20 to 50 years.
Well, it remains to be seen what is going to unfold with regard to possible recognition or soft recognition of Kosovo's independence by Serbia. I will be bringing you more perspectives as well as more interviews on the topic in the coming days and possibly weeks and months and maybe years. For now, where do things stand with my current Western Balkans trip? I am going to be departing Belgrade tonight. I will actually be coming back to Belgrade very shortly before I wrap up this trip, but I'm going to be heading down to Montenegro, where there is an election coming up tomorrow, so stay tuned for reports from Montenegro. There have been a lot of developments, including with regard to NATO, happening in Montenegro over the past couple years, and there's a very interesting political figure who is going to be seeking the office of the presidency tomorrow. I will leave it at that for now. Ciao from Belgrade, and I look forward to coming to you from Montenegro.